let's discuss things that you should do after the draft, Fabs. There's still work that you guys could do at this point in time. Number one, if you drafted TJ Hawkinson or Chubb, please go immediately put them into that IR spot if your league has IR spots. And that opens up. And by the way, also keep this in mind for drafting purposes. You might be like, I don't know. I don't like anyone in this range, but TJ Hawkinson might not even play this year. Well, consider it's a free square. So if he does come back, then you have the upside of him being TJ Hawkinson that you got in a late round. But also, you're going to get an extra waiver wire spot immediately without having to drop somebody. Put him into IR and now go pick up that extra upside rookie or like Andre Yoshavash or Greg Dortch or these guys who actually have risen in terms of ADP. They've both risen 2 rounds in the last 2 weeks. And very, very late. I'm talking about late rounds, like undraftable rounds for most of us, but there's a reason they're rising. And that's because those are the guys on the outside of the circle that people aren't that excited about, that people think could have a bigger role than we're anticipating. So go get one of those guys, just put them on your bench and watch it.
The first thing there for me is keep tabs on the NFL roster cuts, which happened already. Of course, you're still seeing moves. I mean, Samaje Perine is now look like he's going to be the backup for Isaiah Pacheco. Things are going to happen. So keep tabs on whose handcuffs are potentially on practice squads now, right? I mean, we saw that with the Colts. It's going to be Trey Sermon when Evan Hall got put on the practice squad. Kendall Miller not going to play for the first 4 weeks. So it's Jamal Williams. So just keep tabs on that kind of thing. I think using the waiver wire once it's open, and a lot of commissioners will like lock it until, Wednesday for the first week. Is Jordan Mason out there? Is Emmanuel Wilson out there? Is Jamal Williams out there? Is Sermon out there? Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter in week 1. So does that mean you pick him up in the Superflex league if he hadn't got drafted because Drake May was drafted ahead of him? Keep that in mind. Also, defensive matchups. Look at those. And there's a lot of good defensive matchups this week that you guys can utilize. And there's also some really big time defenses that have bad matchups, right? Do I want to play the Chiefs or the Ravens against one another? No, I don't think so. The Jets have a great matchup against the Niners. No, they don't. That's a bad matchup. I don't want to play the Jets against San Francisco. So here's a few replacements for week 1. I like the Saints at home against Carolina. I like the Raiders against the Chargers. I like the Seattle Seahawks against the rookie Bo Nix against Denver. And I love Jaden Daniels, don't get me wrong, but the Buccaneers defense is also interesting if you need to stream. And the Vikings defense against Daniel, the human interceptions Jones, also worth a look if you're streaming defenses. Cincinnati's also a good play this week against New England. Yeah. That's a really nice one as well. So keep tabs on that. And then also, all's fair in love and fantasy football. Search for teams that are desperate. Maybe somebody drafted Nick Chubb thinking they'd be able to use him in week 1, and now they're screwed at running back because they didn't get Jerome Ford. If you've got a good running back situation, well, then maybe you could snipe somebody and steal a good player off a roster.